there, good morning, and you've tuned into ET Now. This is BNSN with me, Cheryl D'Souza. Along with me, I have Harsh Satya also joining us. Let's take a look at what the markets are doing at this point in time. A stellar recovery is what you could say, the way how the markets have performed since the word go. Yes, we were in the negative territory. We dipped much deeper in the negative territory. Nifty had broken past the 17,500 mark as well earlier on in the day. And from there on, we've staged a good recovery. Right now, we are actually trading with a negative, flat with a negative bias and above the 17,500 mark. Talking about Nifty Bank, that one also is moving in tandem with the benchmark indices. Saw a good set of recovery at one point in time. You had Nifty Bank that was down about 0.8% from the day's highest point. Right now, it is seeing declines of above 0.4%. Talking about the list of gainers is ITC that's holding fort once again, 2% uptick coming in for ITC, followed by Coal India, Tata Steel, UPL as well as JSW Steel. But on the flip side, you have the paint companies actually taking quite a knock in trade today. So the top loser on the Nifty today is Asian Paints, followed by IndusInd Bank, HDFC Life, Titan as well. That is seeing a decline in trading session. Let me take a look at all the sectoral indices and take you through what they are doing. It's Nifty Media that is seeing the biggest cut in today's trading session. Is the top sectoral loser. And remember that Zee is the one that is dragging the entire index. And we'll have Harsh in a bit tell us what exactly is happening on that particular front. You have Realty Index also that is declining and Power Index. But on the flip side, it is Metals that's holding on to good gains of about 1%. But Harsh, a very good morning to you. And like I mentioned, it is Zee that is in the spotlight in today's trading session. 10% downtick coming in for Zee.
Well, yes, super pressure on Zee, and that's on the back of the NCLT, which has admitted an insolvency petition filed by IndusInd Bank against Zee Entertainment. Let's go across to my colleague Sharad, who's going to decode that for us. Sharad.
Well, yes, an important development coming in Zee, and of course NCLT has admitted the insolvency plea coming in from IndusInd Bank, and this is regarding a 150 crore loan given to City Networks. Now the important thing is that almost a block deal has also done of almost 10.8 lakh shares in the day's trade, and the company's management, Puneet Goenka, who is the CEO, did state to ET Now that the company is remaining committed for the merger going ahead, and they're expected to do it in a timely manner, and of course they will be also looking after the legal recourse. Now UBS also came out with its report, and they have stated that the debt obligation, the amount is on the lower side, and they've stated that the cash balances as per the third quarter FY23 for Zee stands at 700 crore rupees. So it's not a material development, that's what UBS is stating, but they are saying that the merger might be further delayed going ahead, and there was an important meeting expected in March 9 for the NCLT's final hearing on the merger itself. Now looking at the PL impact also, the brokerage house has stated that even if this amount is actually taken in, the PL impact would be minimal, and they have maintained a buy rating for the stock with the target price coming in at 350 rupees per share.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sharad, for putting into context what exactly is happening with Zee Entertainment in today's trading session. 8.5% downtick coming in for Zee as we speak. At one point in time, that particular counter was down about 12%. But let's move on and let's bring on board our guest for today to understand where the market is set up, what market setup is looking like, and what should you do if you are looking at mid-cap IT space, because of late, we've seen a good uptick coming in the IT packet, especially as a mid-cap IT space. We have a lot of you asking us what should you all do with your current holding in the mid-cap IT company. So let's bring on board Kunal Bothra as well as Mr. A.K. Prabhakar today. A very good morning to you, Kunal, as well as Mr. Prabhakar. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. Mr. Prabhakar, let me come to you. IT index, yes, last year was a very dull one coming in for the IT space as well as the pharma index as a whole. But start of this year, we've seen some sort of, excitement come in back for the IT SPAC, especially the mid-cap IT space. Where do you see this one headed from here on? Do you think that it is a much better place compared to the large caps? And if someone is already holding mid-cap companies, what should they do?
Yeah, we need to be very selective when it comes to mid-cap IT. No, the near-term macro issues are still persisting. So, here, any company which has an exposure to US is where we like it. So, the important point in mid-cap or in any IT company is vendor consolidation. So that is the major challenge, and a few companies would benefit out of it. There we like Coforge, LTI, Mindtree, Persistent, and Emphasis. And there are few companies which are value because of the deep correction which we saw in the last 1.5 years. The one is Zensar Technology and Brillasoft. We think value has emerged, and there is a new management in Zensar which is going to benefit the company also.
Right, thank you so much for that. Kunal, let me switch over to you. What are you looking at, and what's looking interesting in your view?
So, Harsh, according to me, I think mid-cap IT stocks, there are a lot of stocks which are looking quite attractive. The two names which I'll be bullish on in terms of charts, one is FSL, First Solutions. I think that's a stock which has done reasonably well, risen up from 105 to almost 120 odd levels currently. And most interestingly is the way in which the stock has gone into a price pattern. So, 2020 start, the stock went into a very huge uptrend. Then came a phase from 2021 top when the stock started to correct. I think the correction has been more than 50%. And then comes a time-wise correction as well. So all three classical phases completed for FSL. That makes the charts, the risk reward, as well as the current point of a breakout very, very lucrative. So that's the stock which I would look to eye on from the mid-cap IT space.
All right, first so solutions is what Kunal is finding attractive in the mid-cap IT space. But on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now, because when we come back, we'll start taking all of your queries, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and this is the show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. So viewers, you can actually connect with us via YouTube or Twitter or even Facebook, because we're live on those social media platforms. Along with that, if you're watching us on your television set right now, then you can connect to us via WhatsApp number that is flashing on the top of your screen. Do mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in, and also the time horizon. And if you already purchased a counter, then do mention the buy price as well as the quantity. It will help our experts help you better. But before we get going with all the queries, let's ask the most pertinent question to Mr. Prabhakar. Mr. Prabhakar, we are coming to the end of another series. Today is expiry. We are seeing volatile moves in the markets, isn't it? But in such a market scenario, what should our viewers do to make sure, or rather retail investors do to make sure that they keep their wealth protected?
Till the interest rate doesn't come down, I think there will be pressure on market, and high interest rates are slightly negative for market, but there are sectors which are outperforming. For example, IT as a sector in the last 2 months has started to do very good. So in that space, we like even Tech Mahindra and Zensar Tech, where I think you have to be more stock specific. You need to know where is the demand and supply coming. So power sector is something we are very positive. So I think the power demand, May to December is going to be very high. So power companies are going to benefit. In that space, we like Tata Power and NTPC. So we need to be very calculative in what we are doing. It is not a bull market which is going to run away. It is going to be a very difficult market, and you have to be in the right stock at the right time. Otherwise, the chances of we not making money in the next 6 months is very high. So you need to know what is the risk to reward ratio and where we need to bet. That is more important in this market.
All right, so that's the view coming in from Mr. Prabhakar on what should you do to keep your wealth protected, and also power space looks pretty exciting according to Mr. Prabhakar. But let's get going with your queries then, and the first query that I have is coming from Akash Mathur, and he has about 270 bonus shares of BLS International. He's wondering whether is there any scope for an upside over the next 3 to 6 months, Kunal, or should he sell and move to another counter?
But I would suggest to hold on to the stock as of now. It's getting into a sort of a recovery phase for itself. So I think at current levels of 160 approximately, if I'm not wrong, that's what the stock is trading. It's still trading above the 200-day moving average. So I would suggest a hold.
Right. Let me take it across to Mr. Prabhakar. We have Ansar, who has actually bought Infosys at 1,580 rupees a share. He's looking for advice on what to do with his stock. He's got 35 shares.
If it is with me, I'll be holding it. They pay very good dividend. The growth is there, and when bad times are there, now vendor consolidation is something which will happen. So Infosys or even TCS being the leaders, they will gain from this troublesome period.
All right. This one is coming from Manjunath, and Manjunath is a senior citizen and wants to invest about a lakh for a period of 2 years. And the stocks that Manjunath is asking whether SBI is better or ICICI Bank, or better to invest in Reliance Industries. What's your take on this one, Mr. Prabhakar? 1 lakh rupees, two stocks. Which one would that be?
I will go with ICICI Bank in this three stocks which he has mentioned. The other stock is I will go with the LTI Mindtree. IT is one sector we like, so LTI Mindtree I will go with.
Right, let me switch it over to Kunal. We have Sandeep who has 150 shares of ABFRL. He's bought it for 272 rupees a piece. He wishes to understand what to do with it. He has a 6-month holding period that he can consider.
I think you should definitely look to hold on. I understand that ABFRL has corrected, and the last 2-3 days of correction has been sharp and intense. But that's how the stocks tend to make a bottom. I would probably believe that at current levels of 235, 240 approximately, or slightly lower than that, I think is a very good range where you should look to hold on to ABFRL. If possible, you may look to even average out if the stock dips towards say 220, 225 mark. So I would suggest a buy as well as a hold, possibly even an average at slightly lower levels for ABFRL.
Kunal, yesterday we did speak about the AMCs in depth, but today Harsh is asking about NAM India. 280 is the buy price. He's a long-term investor, but he wants to know, is the stock showing signs of reversal on the charts? He wants to know whether he should hold it for the next 15 to 18 months.
Well, it doesn't look like, because I think NAM India and most of the other AMC stocks, they have been going through a very sharp downtrend. Now the question over here is, if you're trying to play for a bounce of 5%, 10%, then it's a different ballgame altogether. But if you're looking out for a major revival, the charts have to start showing signs of signals of a major turnaround, whether it's a time-wise correction. So first things first, the price correction has to halt significantly. The stock has to go into a time-wise correction. That's where I believe that opportunities would probably re-emerge for the AMC stock. As of now, the downtrend is still continuing for many of these AMC names. So as a pack and as an overall basis, I would probably expect that this downtrend would continue. The stance which I highlighted yesterday, that you need to exit these kind of stocks which have been going to a downward trend and wait out for a point where there is convincing signs of reversal. As of now, there are no such signs for the AMC stocks, which is why my advice is to stay away.
Right, Mr. Prabhakar, we have Mazumdar who owns 230 shares of Dixon Tech at 5,241 rupees a piece. So he's making a huge loss on this one. He wants your advice. How long do you think it's going to take for the stock to recover? And what is your advice on this one?
Recent listing about 2 years back, it got listed and it traded very expensive. Now also, even after correction, it is an expensive stock and the margins are very low. No? When you have low margin business, then you have to grow that aggressive. So it will take time. I think at least 4 to 5 years, it will take for the growth to come back and for us to see a reasonable profit. I think the waiting time will be very high. But any new listing, this is what has happened. So we need to be careful with all the new listings. It is for a high risk and high reward category, not for investors who are looking for low risk.
Okay, this is from Dhananjay Kunal, and he wants a technical view on Bank of Baroda as well as Polyplex. Is it a good time to average both these counters at current market price? And if not, what will be the correct level? As far as I know, I remember the Bank of Baroda, you did have a sell call in yesterday's trading session, but do you think it makes sense to average Bank of Baroda and Polyplex now? He's not mentioned his buy price though.
For Bank of Baroda, if I'm not wrong, my targets were just about closer to 154. The stock has sort of hit those target levels. I think 155-ish is where the stock has made a low. So the near-term targets on the sell call for Bank of Baroda, that seems to be over. Now, ideally, when you're looking to buy the stock, I would believe that it's better that you buy at a mean reversion phase, or when the stock comes closer to the 200 moving average. As of now, the 200 DM is at 139, 140 levels. So maybe I think 140 to 145 could be a good band where you may look to buy Bank of Baroda, assuming if the stock dips to those levels. Polyplex, I think, Shell, we've been receiving a lot of queries on the stock price over the last many months. But then I think on the recent charts, the stock seems to be forming a base at the 1300, 1400 zone. So this 1300 to 1400 zone is a good zone where you may look to accumulate only if you are a high risk as well as a contra trader.
Right, Kunal, I'll stick with you because the querist has specifically asked you for this one. Hero Honda for her is down 10% since its buy price. So she's finding Pratiksha from Muscat this one. She's finding the stock ranging between 2500 and 2750. So she's asking whether she should exit at 2700, reduce her losses, and buy in at a lower rate. What's your view on this one?
See, the only concern with Hero MotoCorp is that when would the stock come back towards 2,700? And if it does, would it be the first stock from the entire auto pack which would lead the charge? My sense is that it may not be the first stock to get into a revival phase. If you're looking out to cover up your 8 to 10% loss, then I think it makes sense to switch from this stock to other performing names from the auto pack. Two stocks which I would be very bullish on. I think I've voiced my opinion quite a few times. One of them is Tata Motors. uh, I think even at 425, 430 levels where the stock is trading right now, it looks fairly attractive to me on the charts. There is a strong case that Tata Motors can probably get into a revival phase from here on. That's one stock which you would look to buy. Of course, Tata Motors is slight high beta. If you're looking at an alternative, then I think Mahindra and Mahindra stands out to be one of the stronger and the formidable names. Very relatively low beta as compared to the other large cap peers from the auto pack. So these are the two options. Uh,
Right, this one is coming in from Hemant, and Hemant wants to know out of the two stocks that I'm going to mention in the sugar pack, which one makes sense to be invested in for the longer period of time, Mr. Prabhakar? His options are Balrampur Chini, Sri Renuka, Dwarikesh, or Praj Industries. Out of these four companies, which two do you think make sense in the sugar pack to invest for the longer term?
Balrampur Chini will be the choice number one, and in a turnaround candidate, and there is a change in management. Sri Renuka Sugar, which will have a higher ethanol capacity, will be my second choice. So these two in sugar pack we can go, but sugar this year will be subdued. But you need to have 2 years and above view.
Right, Mr. Prabhakar, one more. Sudhir from Kerala, he's bought 30 shares of alkylamines at 3420 a share, of course, making considerable loss there as well. So please could you advise what he should do with it? He's a long-term investor, and whether he should average or exit, and if he does exit, is there any alternative that he has that you suggest?
No, I think chemical companies are going through a very tough pace. One thing is many chemical companies have committed towards huge expansion plan. So when you expand, your margins are going to come down. Your depreciation are going to increase. That is what is happening in this chemical space. But this stock is a very good stock. But I will not advise to average at this point of time. Let the reversal happen in the results also. Let their revenue start to grow, and let us see the visibility, then we can average, but I will advise you to hold on.
Okay, this one is coming in from Sudhin and Kunal. This one's for you. Between HDFC and ITC, which is the right one to buy or sell for a period of 1 year? The reason why he's asking for sell is the fact that he has both of these stocks in his portfolio. So basically, he wants to add some more, or should he look to exit either of these counters? So what's your take? HDFC and ITC. Kunal, I believe you'll have to unmute.
Yeah, I think I would believe that we should hold on to both of these names, HDFC as well as ITC. ITC, I think we've been reasonably bullish for the stock over the last 1.5 odd year, and I would believe that the major part of the trend has not played out for the stock. Yes, the stock has rallied up higher, but then these are the kind of rallies which takes the stock into a multi-year kind of an uptrend. And we've just seen 1 year of strong uptrend for ITC, and I would believe that there would be much more upside for the stock in the next couple of years as well. So that's a stock which I would be bullish on. HDFC, the only reason for being bullish on HDFC, even when the stock is consolidating, is because you don't expect a phase where large cap stocks they can permanently remain into a consolidative phase. There's bound to be a point or a pattern where these stocks would break out and cover up the underperformance or the time consolidation. That's one of the other reasons why I would be bullish on HDFC and would expect that maybe sooner than later in the next 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, once the stocks break out of the consolidation, it could be a huge uptrend for HDFC as well.
Right. We have Mr. Prabhakar, we have Harish from Chennai. He's a senior citizen. He's bought Bikaji Foods at 420 rupees a piece, making a loss. What's your view on this one?
No, again, this is a new listing. New listing has few problem, and I don't know. All of a sudden, consumption has started to come down in the last 3 4 months, and that will have an impact. People are not spending as we would like people to spend. So I think this stock can correct, but for a long term perspective, it is not a problem. If you are just looking at 1 to 2 years, I think consumption is going to face some slowdown before it can pick up. So you need to understand the risk of new listing also. It is for investors who track very closely. They make money in the new listing, not investors who are very passive.
Okay, one more coming your way then, Mr. Prabhakar, and this one is from Lalita. And she wants to know about Thyrocare. She wants your view, fundamental view for the next 3 to 5 years. How's the growth prospect looking? And is it a value investment at current levels?
Yeah, no, the Thyrocare we have not been tracking, but I have been tracking Metropolis and Dr. Lal Pathshala. We need to understand after a very big lull, this sector pricing power has started to come back. So we need to watch for 1 or 2 quarters before we can invest in these stocks. But I think the worst is behind this sector. So the sector is starting to pick up the pricing power, whatever ground check we are doing, pricing power has started to come back. So maybe wait for 1 2 quarters, let the management commentary become positive, then we can start to enter these stocks.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Prabhakar. We'll slip into a very short break. More, of course, on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. We'll continue with your queries. Let me quickly move over to Kunal. Kunal, talk to us about Zee. Of course, it's been in focus. Several investors asking us, what should one do with the Zee stock? Should they average down?
Should average down into these kind of names. The classical way to look at it is Harsh, that Zee has been a huge underperformer in the last 5 to 6 months. Now, at the point when the markets had bottomed out from the September 2022 lows, and there was a very strong recovery, large cap names recovered. Zee has been one stock which has been consistently making new lows. I think the stock has even broken below the 200 mark today at 186, 187 levels. The intensity of selling still indicates that the pain is just started for the stock and is not yet out. I would be of the belief that one should look to definitely stay away from these kind of names and not venture out into buying these, intraday or short-term kind of sharp correction.
In on Zee, which is actually reeling under immense pressure in today's trading session, 9.3% downtick coming in for that particular counter. But Jay Krishnan from Kerala is saying that he has 3 stocks, that's EID Parry, Asian Paints and Endurance. He wants a suggestion on one stock that he should buy at current levels for a period of medium term, if only it is worth investing. So Kunal, do you think these counters are worth investing, EID Parry, Asian Paints or Endurance, one stock for the medium term?
Yeah, I think EID Parry is something which looks attractive. Even Asian Paints, given the way the stock has corrected, I think has come back towards a good support point for itself. This doesn't mean that the stock will not correct further, but then there is a point where the risk reward starts to become lucrative, and that's the point where we start to go into a contra mode. You try and look out for corrections as well as dips to average out more. I think Asian Paints has reached that particular stance in terms of the trading play. EID Parry, of course, the entire sugar play has been doing exceptionally well over the last 3 4 years. I think if I'm not wrong, EID Parry has been a better performer, or a slight outperformer as compared to the other players like Balrampur, Chini, Triveni, etc. in the last 6 8 months of time span. So that also makes the chart patterns a bit more attractive as compared to the other players. I would not pick out one, but I would probably pick out both of these stocks, EID Parry as well as Asian Paints.
Right, Kunal. We'll switch over. Mr. Prabhakar, if you can talk to us about IDFC First Bank and Samvardhan Motherson Sumi. At current levels, is that a buy in your view?
IDFC First, yes, they are into new age technology banking. So we like IDFC first. But no, Motherson Sumi is a bit complicated company. They are there across the globe. It is a good product, but companies which are spread across the globe, there are a lot of moving parts. Normally, we avoid these kind of companies.
All right. This one is coming from Satish Shah, and he wants to know what should be the good entry level for Tata Elxsi and Sona BLW. Kunal?
But Tata Elxsi, I would still stay away from the stock. My belief is that the stock has not yet bottomed out. Yes, it's going to a minor rally from I think 5,700, 800 levels to 6,400. But that's the best which the best is behind the stock price, at least over the near to medium term charts. I would suggest to stay away from Tata Elxsi as of now. Sona Comstar, I think at 460, 465 is a good level where you can look to buy. It's completed a correction, it's completed a time retracement, as well as now indicators on the weekly as well as on the monthly charts are getting into a reversal. So Sona BLW is something which you can buy at current levels, but Tata Elxsi, I would still be a bit iffy in buying the stocks or recommending. I think there is a high likelihood that the 5,700 level, which the stock has formed earlier, I think those levels could be tested as well as broken down.
Right, Kunal, and what's your view on DMart? We have Balaji from Chennai who's asking us, he holds around 70 shares of DMart at 4,200. Is it a hold or a sell in your view?
Well, I would recommend a hold on the stock. I would not recommend a sell as of now. But I think an averaging opportunity for DMart could probably be some distance away. I think 250 is the major support. If I'm not wrong, that's the low the stock had made in the month of March or April 2022. So just around that 3,250 mark, I believe that this correction or this phase of correction could get over. So if you're looking at a good buying opportunity and averaging out opportunity, that should be a point where you can look to average further for DMart.
Mr. Prabhakar, I know at length we did speak about the mid-cap IT space, and I know that L&T Tech did not feature in your top favorite list of the mid-cap IT pack. However, Soumitra wants to know, do you have any views or fundamentally how does L&T Tech look to you over the longer period of time? Any growth projections in the sense of earnings growth projection have you penciled in for L&T Tech services?
No, we are positive on LTI Mindtree. I think that is L&T Tech, right?
LTI Mindtree would be L&T Info and Mindtree. That was the one, yeah.
LTTS, right?
LTTS, yes.
Yeah, no, LTTS, no, we like the stock, no, but our top preference is LTI Mindtree because there, these two companies together, the business prospects are better. But LTTS, now if you're a long-term investor, I think that is something we like. 15% CIGR growth is what we expected.
Right. We have Kritika from Gurgaon, who Mr. Prabhakar wants to understand your view on Strides Pharma. She's holding 55 shares at 690 rupees a piece, making a loss. What should she do at the moment? She has a holding period of 2 to 3 years. What's your view?
We have not been tracking Strides at all, so we won't be able to comment on this.
All right.
Sure. No, please.
Okay, I'll take the next query then. And this one is coming from Nitya. And Nitya is a long-term investor, Mr. Prabhakar, and currently actually she's suffering losses of about 20% both on Union Bank of India as well as Sri Renuka Sugars. Now she wants to know whether she should average or what should she do. She's asking this question to you, Kunal.
Can you repeat the question once again?
So this is from Nitya. She's suffering 20% loss in Union Bank as well as in Sri Renuka Sugars. Now she wants to know whether she should look to average or what other strategy should she use in order to reduce the loss that she's making on both of these counters.
See, Union Bank specifically, I'll start off with that. I'm extremely bullish on the PSU banking name from a long-term play. Now, I understand that Union Bank has corrected from I think 94, 96 to currently sub 70 mark. But I think these are the advantages or disadvantages of investing into a high beta stock. They can get into a sharper phase of correction. But I think at current levels of 65, 67, Union Bank looks attractive to me. I would recommend an averaging out possibility from current levels and maybe if the stock dips towards 60, 62 mark as well. Now, Sri Lanka Sugars, I would be a bit iffy in the stock price because the near term, the longer term charts for the stock is still not getting to a major recovery. Now, Sri Lanka is a high beta stock from a sector which is already very high beta as well as seasonal. So I think it's better to shift from Sri Renuka towards Balrampur Chini from the sugar pack. And for Union Bank, you can continue to look to hold on as well as possibly average from 60 to 65 kind of rate.
And Kunal, if we can also have your view on Strides Pharma. Mr. Prabhakar didn't have a view. If we can have yours.
So Pharma is a stock which I think, if I'm not wrong, is a high dividend paying stock. It has a very good history in that regard. But purely in terms of price strength, there is nothing which is major or emerged as a major revival trend for Strides Pharma. Currently at 300, the 2020 high for the stock was around 1000 mark, which means the stock has lost more than 60%, 65% of its previous rally. The all-time high levels for Strides Pharma, of course, is more than 1400 plus levels. So looking at those all-time highs, the recent 2020 highs, and even the recent 2022 highs, it doesn't augur very well in terms of prospects. So I would recommend that you should look to exit. If you're looking at investing into pharma names or shifting from Strides, I think Dr. Reddy and DV Slab could probably start to offer very good risk reward from current level.
Thanks for that, Kunal. Let me switch it over to Mr. Prabhakar. We have Mahalakshmi from Hyderabad who's holding 400 shares of Poonawalla FinCorp at $260 a share. So, of course, she's making a good gain on it. She's looking to add another 600 to this. Is this a good time, or would you then suggest Bajaj Finance instead of Poonawalla? She's a long-term investor.
I think, if you want to add something, it is better to diversify your risk. Bajaj Finance would be a better bet.
All right, this one is coming in from Amarjeet Kunal. He has about 300 shares of JSW Steel purchased at 756 rupees per share. Should he hold on to this one for the next 6 months, or should he hold or book out of it?
See, I think over the last, in fact, yesterday or day before, I had mentioned about JSW Steel that it's forming a bearish kind of a chart pattern, which could probably impact the near-term trend for JSW Steel. So if you're asking me from a near-term kind of a perspective, I would expect maybe another 5% to at max, 10% kind of a correction for the stock price. But from a medium-term play, it's possible that most of the metal stocks, they can get into a revival phase. So the strategy has to be dual. Maybe you can look to hold on to the stock as of now, but if it corrects, say, broadly 10% from current levels till 650 or 640 mark, that could be a point where you may look to average perform.
Right. We have Pawan from Bangalore, Kunal, who holds Emphasis at 2280, and he's also bought Emphasis at 2300 call option with a March expiry at 71 for the call option. What's your view on this one?
See, I would recommend to hold on to Emphasis. I think it's recovering quite well from the, I think, major lows of 1900, 950. It's recovered to 2200 plus levels, consolidating over here. So from a March perspective, I think it's a good strike as well as a stock to hold on to. Possibly even look at something like Tech Mahindra, a stock which I've been bullish on over the last 5-7 trading sessions. My sense is that even this stock is showing all those classical signs of a revival as well as a strong breakout. So maybe from the next 1 to 2 month perspective, that's the other large cap IT name which you can probably keep an eye on.
All right. This one is coming from Stapan. He wants to know for EV, to play on the EV theme, Mr. Prabhakar. He wants to know, does it make sense to go ahead and invest in Motherson Sumi, that is SAMIL, or Motherson Sumi wirings?
No, in EV we like Sona BLW. They have a huge order book, and visibility also is very good, and their export order is more than the domestic order. So I think Sona BLW will do very good. Your proxy pay would be even TVS Motor if you want to play partially EV. So these are better plays, because this is what I understand. Something where it is there in 7 or 8 geographies. It is very difficult to do a research.
All right. On that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue with your queries as well as take the rapid fire. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue with taking your queries. Last few minutes of the show's left. Let me take this one coming in from Raghavi and Kunal. She wants your view on Goldime International.
Well, I would believe that ideally it's a high beta name, but then I think the recent charts indicate that the stock has come back towards 200-day moving average. The volumes in the last leg of Apu from 125 to 175 were quite attractive. So that could be one of the reasons why you may look to buy. But again, uh, just that it's a lot more high beta stock, I would believe that it's better that you allocate very low or less kind of capital over here.
Right, Mr. Prabhakar, we have Bhibhupada Mohanty from Odisha, Bhubaneswar, who's looking for advice with regard to Divis Labs, 40 shares bought at 3,400, and Relaxo, 70 shares bought at 980, looking at a holding period of a decade, 10 years.
I think both is a hold from my side. If it is for 10 years, then I don't think there is any worry.
All right, with that, let's kickstart with the rapid fire. First one coming your way, Kunal. This one's coming from Manish Raju. IRB Infra, good buy for the period of next 3 to 6 months at current market price.
Yeah, I've been bullish on IB Infra, and I believe that it's a good buy, especially around that earlier price this levels of 275, so maybe around 25-27 mark. It's a good buy.
Right, Mr. Prabhakar, what about HDFC Life? 100 shares at 514, holding since the last year or so. What's your view?
I'm very positive, but near term there is no trigger. If you are ready to hold for long term, it is a hold.
Okay, Ajay Kumar wants to know, is it a good time to buy Reddington, Kunal, and is it a good price right now or should wait for some more correction?
I think it's a good price to buy. Reddington 166, 67 is a zone, and I think it's a better buy.
Right, and Kunal, what about PCBL? Holding period 1 year at the current market price. What's your view?
Harsh, I don't track the stocks, so I won't be able to offer anything.
Okay, let me switch it over to Mr. Prabhakar. If you can have a view on this one, please.
Yeah, TCPL packaging. You are
No, PCBL.
Philip Carbon.
PCBL.
Philip Carbon Black.
Philip Carbon.
Yeah, no, we are positive. Long term, we are very positive.
Okay,
Hold.
all right, hold is the call coming in. Tushar has Dhanlakshmi Bank purchased at 20.31 rupees per share in the month of December. Kunal, what should he do? Hold or exit?
Hold on.
Right, and what about Varun Beverages, Kunal? 1,200 bucks a share. Should one add more at these levels?
I think you should look to book out profits over here.
Kunal, Rupak wants to know, makes sense to sell ITC right now, 279 is the buy price.
Yeah, you may look to book partial profits, but as I said earlier, that it's a stock which is long-term story, so it should look attractive over the next 1 to 2 years.
Right, and Mr. Prabhakar, Aptus value, one of the investors holding at 300. What's your view on this? Hold or exit?
We don't have a view on this.
Okay, Kunal, Chandan wants to know about Voltas. Can he buy today with a target of 1,000 rupees per month in the next 3 months? 1,000 rupees per share.
Yeah, I think buy and dips is what I would recommend. You can start at current levels of 900.
Kunal, do you have a view on Aptus value?
Well, I do track the stock, but I think I don't find it very attractive. Even at current levels, I think the stock can probably correct by another 10 to 15%.
All right, with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as the query segment. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Mr. Prabhakar for joining us on the show, giving us your take on the mid-cap IT space, as well as resolving all of our viewer queries and viewers. With that, we come to the end of this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. It's a goodbye from Harsh, myself, and the team that put the show together. But stay tuned, markets at noon coming up next.